Perfect.
Okay, one sec. Okay, and welcome to the latest instalment of Alpha Male Interviews. Today we're talking to Patrick Chase from womenchaseyou.com. First discovered Patrick during a Brent Smith vocal call. Patrick is an interesting guy, to say the least. When you first meet him, he comes across a bit abrupt, a bit arrogant, shall we say. But you quickly realise you dislike him solely because you want to be him. He's the type of guy that, he knows what you want, he's congruent in what he says and thinks. Trust me, that's very true. And he's had cracking success. So I asked Patrick for a quick chat to see what tips he could give us to get somewhat on his level. Maybe with a less slaps from the ladies, but we'll see how it goes. So Patrick, thanks very much for dropping by.
Thank you, Ian. That was quite the intro.
You should have seen the few that I deleted. So, for my readers who don't know that much about you, your work with Brent, etc., can you tell us how your journey from the average guy to being the grand master that you are just now?
Sure. Well, I wasn't even an average guy, back in the day. I didn't have really any success with women. I was a pretty big loner. I was a major computer geek, and I was really introverted, and I didn't have a social group, and I definitely didn't have anything going on or anything like that. And I kind of decided about maybe 7 or 8 years ago that I was going to get it all handled. I got my first girlfriend when I was 21, and at that point, when we broke up, I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to leave this up to chance anymore. I want to get this all figured out. And for the first year, I was just kind of flying blind. I didn't know about the pickup community or books on meeting women or anything like that. So I just went out on my own, and I was going to bars, and I was doing all the wrong stuff. I was buying women drinks all the time, and I really wasn't getting anywhere.
Oh,
yep. And then about a year into it, this one friend of mine, he was like, "Hey man, you're going out, meeting women all the time. You should check this out." And he gave me David D'Angelo's videos. And that's kind of when I was first exposed to the community and everything like that, and started learning all of it. And shortly after, I started seeing some success, and it all kind of took off from there.
Brilliant. So how did you come to work with Brent? During the weekly vocal call, that was the first time I'd actually heard of you. Did you work with Brent? Were you a student of his previously?
Yeah. Well, what happened was, like I said, I got into David D'Angelo, and I remember seeing Brent on one of his seminars, and Brent had some really interesting, controversial approaches to the whole women and relationships thing. And I remember hearing him talk about meeting girls in Starbucks and giving out his number and all this stuff. And I was thinking, you know what, I could see that working for him, but I'm not really a coffee shop guy, and I can't see myself giving out my number and all this. And so for the first year, I was just going out and, I was doing pickup artist type stuff and David D'Angelo and all this.
Did you do the
peacocking?
And then,
I probably peacocked maybe once or twice. Not that hardcore.
I can see you with a big neon sign across your chest.
Yeah, and a big feather boa. No, when I first discovered some of that stuff, I remember trying it, routines and all that, and I was thinking, this is just so much work. And I remember I learned some of it, and then there was one night where I was out and I was like, you know what, I just don't want to use this stuff anymore. I never really pictured it being, some like really strategic and methodical type process. I wanted it to be kind of natural. And I just decided to, give it all up. And that was kind of when I started learning, I started kind of innovating and figuring out some of the stuff on my own. But after the first year of, doing all that pickup artist stuff, I got a girlfriend, and we were together for a while, and we broke up, and it was all good. But I was thinking, you know what? Like, I really don't want to go back to going out to bars ever, 3 or 4 times a week, trying to get girls' numbers, trying to ask them out on dates, getting flaked on, getting rejected. And I was just thinking there has to be, an easier way of doing this stuff, because I felt like the only way at the time to have success with, going out and pursuing women all the time was it was like a numbers game. Like, I just had to put so much energy into it. So that was when I kind of, I was reminded of Brent, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try what he was saying. I'm just going to give out my number. I'm going to stop pursuing after women all the time. And, we'll just see how that goes. And, I put everything he was, talking about into action, and it took a little while, but after a while I started to see that, what he was talking about was real, and, it could work for me, and pretty much never looked back since then. So now I'm leading more of a life of, being unattached and, just kind of doing my thing and meeting women along the way.
Yeah, brilliant answer. That's something I myself struggled with the whole leaving the emotions behind, becoming completely not caring about scenarios, outcomes. If one girl rejects you, forgetting there's about another 5 billion waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, is Brent the sole the sole person that had the impact on how you developed as I don't like the term pickup artist, but say getting better with women. What's your main philosophy on your coaching? What makes you different compared to all the other pickup artists getting better with game, whatever you want to call them, men's self-development experts?
Sure. Yeah, there were plenty of influences. I mean, even though I don't consider myself a pickup artist, and there were guys though, in the community who definitely had figured out a lot of the stuff about social dynamics and everything, like guys like, Tyler Durden. There were different influences that I had, and not just that, but I was really into like NLP and hypnosis and all kinds of personal development. So I just collected, a number of techniques over the years that, I put into use. And like I said, David D'Angelo was a really big influence in me. And the one thing that I felt really different about, what he was teaching was it was all really about inner game, that it was all about working on yourself and changing your mindset. And that kind of appealed to me more than, just, techniques to get girls, because I would say my personal goal was just to become a happier person, because if I was happy, because even if I was getting girls and I wasn't happy, then I didn't really feel like I was, successful in that department.
Yeah, that actually mirrors my own personal sort of beliefs on this, because it's the whole sort of scenario of using pickup lines, using negs, things like that. It sounds sort of ludicrous, where you've got to try trick a girl into bed, or you've got to bring her down so she feels low enough to sleep with you.
Yeah.
And when I discovered like your stuff, Brent's stuff, and also David D'Angelo's Man Transformation, it was the whole. Even that is real social dynamics. They're moving towards that as well, where it's more about bettering yourself, bettering your inner beliefs, making yourself, decide you're the buyer, making people, work to attract you, just basically making you a better person, because the whole pickup thing